Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Game Week 16 pod of the FPL Wire. Shaq being treated like a golden retriever, speculation about missing players, FPL legends being thrown under the bus, and toxic relationships being mended. The weekend had it all. I'm your host, Zoph, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Late Riser and Pras. Team Salah or Team Slot, LR?
Oh, that's that's such a
I know,
layered
this
question. I wasn't expecting you to fire that straight at me. But as a United fan, my answer is Team Chaos, man. That's the
Great answer.
I mean, let them screw it up even more. I absolutely would be all for it. But on a more serious note, it's a little bit of both, man. I don't have a black and white answer in terms of what can and can't be done. But definitely not Team Carragher, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely not Team Carragher. I think I am Team Slot. I'll elaborate that on a little bit more. But Pras, what about you?
I was going to answer exactly what LR just said. I'm not Team Carragher. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, both have their points of view. Both deserve some respect. So we'll talk about it. But we just bring popcorn and we enjoy.
I think
Speaking of enjoy, we got to give Pras the floor before we get into the Salah conversation. How does it feel finally, Pras, to get that not double? You've never had a double return. You got a triple return from your boy. How does that feel?
Well, I still don't have a double return, is what the first thing is. But, it was good, man. um, I don't know what to say because the week wasn't that amazing anyway. So it was just basically he rescued the week. So, and I want to be humble with it, right? I mean, there were a lot of other players that could have done very well as well. Like Cunha could have passed to Mbumo. You have both of those guys. So many times those two could have connected and scored a goal. So look, it is what it is. You don't generally expect triple returns from Bruno. When you get it, you're glad. But we are happy with one return as well. So it was a good week. Now people are buying Bruno, which is like a new thing. Like there won't be any comments in the YouTube video on what the hell are you doing owning Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I don't want you to be so subdued about this, man. But it's okay. We still have about 90 minutes to go, at least for the pod. I'm sure the conversation will get sparkier with Bruno.
Yes.
So, Zoph, what's your view on Mo?
So I saw the CBS post-game show also yesterday in which Carragher and Richards totally go at it. And by the end of it, Henry is massaging one guy's shoulder and the other attendant is massaging these guys just to keep things calm. But I think what Henry said, I think I really agree with. You don't air your dirty laundry in public. He talked about when Guardiola and him had sort of fallen out. Guardiola made him sit in the stands. And he said, I never complained in the public about it. I went and had a full-on fallout with Guardiola. I spoke to the management, the CEO, etc., etc. And I would find that let Salah go break the CEO's car window. I think even that is more acceptable than what he did. The kind of thing. And like Liverpool supporters, I think are some of the most loyal in the world. They're always going to back their club. The club is first and foremost priority. So I think it was a bit of a bad move by Salah. It wasn't as bad, I think, as the Ronaldo Piers Morgan interview, but there were shades of that. At times, I thought when I said, I've earned my place, I deserve to start. Every player, no matter who it is, you have to deserve your start from the 90 minutes you put on the previous game week. Nobody is entitled to start for any club. I don't think he has that right. But the thing that is in the background, there is rumors of a Saudi offer, right? There's apparently talk that an offer came in from Saudi, which has sort of led to this entire falling out, maybe Salah being forced out. So I don't know how much that has murked the waters a little bit, but unfortunately, the end of it all, I think Salah to us as an FPL option is pretty much dead now. I just don't see how he survives this.
I don't know, man. I think literally one conversation, one change of mind. We're all emotional people, right, as humans, and it's all right for somebody to show their human side, and it wasn't a rational thing. But how many times do you do rational things, and how many times in life do you do irrational things as well, right? Sometimes when the emotion gets better of you.
But it wasn't an emotional thing, Ella. It was a very, very calculated move.
It was a calculated move, but we were having this chat in our WhatsApp chat, and Baker made a good point in terms of everything Slot did was also very, very calculated. Like he's under the cosh, he's under the pressure. 4 games in a row, he's said, it's just a rotation. I have 3 games in 6 days, etc. It's just a rotation. It's just a rotation. The moment he benched him for the 3rd or 4th time, this sort of reaction was also going to come, and the reaction came. It took away all the conversation and focus from what Slot's team has been doing. So maybe is there a bit of coy management from Slot as well? I mean, it's food for thought, right? Don't you think it just takes away the focus from him? The focus is entirely on Mo, and it's sort of he's become the antagonist in most cases. I still have a lot of Liverpool fans who I know are like, no man, Salah's the guy. It's all right. We don't always have to be supporting the manager in a situation like this. Just because you're supporting the manager doesn't necessarily mean you're supporting the club as well. So I'm just trying to see both sides of the coin as well.
Any thoughts, Pras?
Yeah, look, I'm generally not cat or dog, right? I mean, I've said this in the past. So it's not, both are, there has to be something gone wrong on both sides for it to reach this place. I think Josh Williams, the thing you shared, LR, he said it very well in terms of ultimately he picked himself, Salah did, above the team because he knew this will be at the detriment of the team. And Zoph, you said it's not as bad as the Ronaldo interview. Ronaldo had left when he did the Piers Morgan interview. In fact, I'm quite sure he had left. So
Yeah,
he was doing the dirty laundry thing after the fact as a sour grapes thing. Here he's in the club and he knows he's still around. He's talking to the youth, the guys who are coming up. It's just not a good look. Like, that's bad. And Slot should have known that he is that kind of personality. Of course, you spend so much time with them that he can manage it better, right? And I also have a little bit sympathy for Slot here, where he knows his job is on the line. And if your job is on the line and you think maybe the team will do better if there's no Salah and I save my job versus I play him, Salah feels better, but I lose my job. What is Slot going to do? He's going to not play him. So it's just drama, but I feel Salah is more wrong than Slot here.
The irony is he would actually be back in the team now with all the injuries they have.
He would have been, yeah.
Also, it was such an unavoidable sort of situation as well, right? Like the T4 Football Podcast brought up a couple of really nice points where if Slot just decided to delay this situation by maybe a game or two, just play Salah in one of those 3 games, so the situation sort of calmed down. He was going to AFCON anyway, and then he would have the chance to experiment, etc. But on the other side, this was literally one of the last things that Slot tried to do in an attempt to save his job as well, right? So I mean, you don't mind as a United fan, but I just see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, there's definitely some direction from up top. I don't think Slot does this unilaterally. But anyway, let's put that topic aside. Let's talk about the World Cup draw. That abomination of 3 hours that I watched, about 2 hours of it. But my highlight was during the draw, man. Shaq being stone-faced and the way she was talking to him, you're doing so well. You're doing so well. All he has to do is open balls. That's literally how I talk to my dog while he's taking a shit. Good boy. Good boy. You're doing so well. And you should see Shaq's face. It was so patronizing. I was dying the whole time.
I haven't seen the draw yet, but
yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I mean, the rest of it is horrible. The whole thing with the whole Trump and everything was just awful. Yeah. England got an interesting group.
They have an interesting group, but the progress, I almost felt that if they come now second, now of course they will not go into the tournament thinking like this, but if they come first, it's a tough road. Like, in the past times, how the road to the semi-final has panned out, they've ended up playing Sweden's and Colombia's and this of the world. I think quite early they're going to play Brazil, I think in the quarterfinal, if everything pans out and everybody wins. So the group is fine. But I think the progression to the final is a little bit harder, which I guess it will be, right? If there's 6 good teams, you're bound to face tougher teams in the quarters and the semis.
Should we move on, guys?
Yes, we have 5 transfers to talk about, which I'm guessing majority of the people listening to us have used at least one or 2 of them, I reckon, on an average. So Zoph made a very good point. I think most of the communities made their transfers. This is about the post transfers in terms of what to do rather than just using the transfers now. But we'll try to cover both aspects on this podcast as well.
Yep, let's get into it.
As always, all the data that you see on this podcast is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Zoph still keeps doing all the data reviews and member area reviews in terms of having a look at the numbers from the weekend on the Monday morning. So do check it out if you haven't already. And it features all the important data from Fantasy Football Scout. So if you want to become a member, again, it's always just a good time to become a member because, yes, we've got a little bit of a breather this week, but in a couple of game weeks, we have, 4 game weeks in the period of 11 days, 12 days. Data is going to be useful then. So scan this QR code and become a member.
Before I do the NordVPN plug, I wanted to thank everyone for the get well soon comments from the last YouTube comment I made, calling off the Friday pod. Much appreciated. Getting to NordVPN. As you guys know, NordVPN has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you are bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services. And if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/FPLwire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. What have you been watching, guys? LR?
I finally finished Traitors Celebrities last night. I
Fantastic,
started
isn't it?
late. I don't know about that. So
I know.
everybody
Okay,
told me that
spoiler free. Spoiler free still, I guess we have to keep it. Or has the embargo period lifted, Pras? Do you think we can talk?
I think the embargo period is
Nah,
lifted.
we haven't.
Okay, well, let's
We
keep
can't
it
talk
spoiler
about the
free.
finale.
Let's keep
Okay,
it
we'll
spoiler
keep
free.
it spoiler free. But like you guys, in general, everybody's told me that this is one of the best Traitors there has been. And I was just so disappointed, man. Like, except for the last half an hour of the show and Stephen Fry, I thought it was a bit average at
They're a
best.
bit nice to each other,
What?
right? Because ultimately they're not going to be as cutthroat as your average Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I think it also works both ways, right? Because they were nicer, there was no sheep or less amount of sheep voting. There was not a lot of politics because nobody is winning anything. It's all for charity. So I felt like the roundtables were a lot spicier in the sense that people were accusing anyone, whoever, because there's no alliances. There's no everybody's voting for the same person. I think sometimes Traitors suffers with this, that in the middle period an alliance has been formed, and every week, every roundtable, I'm voting for you, what I'm voting for you, everybody has the same vote. So that felt refreshing.
Yeah, it was a nice change, but still nothing comes close to anybody that hasn't seen it. Traitors UK season 2. That's like the gold standard
That's the
of
one with Harry?
Traitors. You know,
That's the one that
that's
Harry.
the one with Harry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a great one. What about you, Pras?
Man, I've just with midweek football, Man United playing on Mondays. It's tough. Thursdays and Mondays are gone with Man United games. Then you have the other pods. So I like, what can I say? I'm just keeping up with content. Like Pluribus, I've caught up with it. So that's been going well. What did I watch? I watched this Apple show called Platonic, which was really good. I finished
suggested
season
you
2.
guys quite some time back, the one with the rose burn.
Yeah, correct. So I have Apple subscription at the moment, so I'm going through some Apple shows. So that was good. But
nice.
yeah,
I'm going to send
it.
you a list of some Apple shows. There's some great ones on there.
Right.
I started a new Apple show yesterday, Down Cemetery Road, with Emma Thompson in it. That was quite good. But I've been tucked up in a duvet for the most of the last week, right? So I watched a Night's Thai show called The Believers. Season 2 of that just came out. Just brushing up on my Thai phrases ahead of my trip next week.
Nice. I see it.
The Abandons. Are you guys, either of you guys, Sons of Anarchy fans?
I've seen Sons of Anarchy, yes.
So the main guy, creator Kurt Sutter, he's made a show on Netflix. It's got Lena Headey and Gillian Anderson as the two main leads. It's called The Abandons. It's a Western-based show. Quite good so far. I think 4 or 5 episodes in on that.
So Netflix?
Yes.
And has anybody seen the Clooney Sandler movie? Any good?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I don't know. It feels like a very odd pairing on the face of it. And Adam Sandler just making certain movies now that I can't take him seriously. It's very difficult for me.
Yeah. I haven't even heard reviews about the movie, so I was curious. Oh, speaking of reviews, I saw Dhurandhar for the Indian Bollywood, man. The fans, 3.5 hour runtime, but it didn't feel like that long. So enjoy that movie. Just a pro tip, if you're going for the movie, go for a show before 8 p.m. because it goes until really late in the night.
Absolutely. Getting back to Nord. Nord also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/FPLwire. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Right, boys, we have a pretty packed agenda today. First up, we're going to be discussing 5 free transfers where we can find the edge, because teams are going to look very similar now going forward, or at least around 8 to 9, maybe even 10 players similar, and how generally we use them. over the next coming weeks. The upcoming schedule, the game week 18 to 21 fixture block. When is the next fixture swing coming? Goalkeepers for those still holding Pope. Liverpool Arsenal discussion, which is relevant for free hitters, and I think in the scope of Liverpool's injuries, potential Arsenal injuries as well. I think there's some picks over there that might emerge. We will look back at the weekend fixtures, discuss a free hit 16 draft, the picks, the alternate game weeks you can use it, and of course captaincy is very interesting with Arsenal playing Wolves, and I think that will largely determined by the lineups. To timestamp this, we're recording this on Wednesday evening. Arsenal have not played in the Champions League yet, so we don't have those lineups, and we will update our thoughts with that on the team selection video. So first up, guys, let's start up with the 5 free transfer discussion, and I wanted to bring up this tweet from 1105 from a couple of years ago. I'm sure you guys remember it. I'll read this out for our audio guys. Fantasy games have always been about managing resources under constraints. That is the entire game. So this was respect to the pricing, right? This year the pricing was very kind. You could afford Saka, Foden, Salah, Haaland, everyone. So he talks about another year of loosening constraints. Low pricing continues the shift from game to alternative engagement platform. And I think that is largely the motivation behind these 5 free transfers that we have been given to get people who are maybe sort of switch off during this period to crew back in. And the fact that we have most of the AFCON guys either injured or not factors has sort of made it even more dull, I think. So how in general now, how do we stay, like most of us now have made our transfers. We are getting now to, everyone's either buying Thiago, Foden. The next week, I think people will be buying a Palace defender. So sort of like moving towards a very strong template. And I think it's not ideal for anyone, especially who's chasing, right? If you're sitting on 1.5, 2 million today, how do you make ground? Haaland is a perma cap. Most of the guys are going to having 8 to 9 free transfers. Where do we find the edge now within this? Pras, have you put any thoughts into it yet?
I mean, the edge maybe is not to waste your transfers and find the edge in 3 weeks. Because yes, you just have to accept that this is the game right now where a lot of people will get 2 similar players. And if you think those are good players, then you should also get on them. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting on good players. But what I see people doing is using their 4th, 5th transfer to fix or to get a player where they have a FOMO who they will probably be benching next week. And I'm like, then you're wasting your resources that you've been given, extra resources. So I think it's also okay to play it in different ways. You can just go different. You go, I don't like Thiago, I like Raul Jimenez. I go there, that's fine. Or you go different by saying, everybody is going for this guy, I'm going to hold who I have and take it from there. Like you keep your resources and you be aggressive a little bit later. I think those are the 2 ways I can see it going, but I also don't think people need to force it. It's okay. That's the game. Everybody's coming to similar teams at the moment.
Because like you said, buying Raul or over, let's say, somebody like a Thiago, you end up maybe overthinking it, just maybe trying to be different for the sake of it, which is again a trap we need to avoid. LR, your thoughts?
I mean, firstly, one thing I really dislike is what it's done to the prices, man. Like you are forced to think really early, and I hate making transfers on Saturday night. I'd never do that. I've never done that in the longest time. I like to switch off. I just like to consume the football and watch it from a getting points point of view rather than a scouting and what am I doing tonight point of view. I don't like to look at the fixture ticker on Saturday night and plan my moves, etc. But the pressure in terms of losing value throughout the week was so high that you just had to do it. So that's one thing I genuinely dislike about the early transfers, because I don't like making them these days. I value information more than team value. But there are 2 sides to both coins, right? Like let's say if you're somebody like me that's been chasing and you have a Mateta and a Bumo in your team. Now, Bumo was a transfer in 17 for pretty much everybody that owns a Bumo, and Mateta was a transfer out given the 60th minute. And actually, he was a decent hold because he's got a cash-in game in him still. It's just that if you decided to wait for the cash-in game, you were going to lose out on 0.2, 0.3 in drop value and 0.2, 0.3 in gain value for Thiago. And that's just very significant, which is why you can't even afford to test the waters, because the 0.5, 0.6 value difference is quite high, right? So these sort of market forces come into play in terms of the way you go as well. As somebody who was slightly behind the game, not owning Foden, sitting with Voltemada and Mateta, not owning Thiago, I've basically caught up with your teams, essentially, and I've basically caught up with the template teams. And I won't get an opportunity to get ahead of the game, which I don't think is the worst thing. Because if we recap to 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I was sitting with 3 free transfers. And I thought I would get ahead of the game by getting double United mids in terms of Cunha and Buma, and I had Voltemada that nobody had. And I was looking forward to West Ham at home, Everton at home from the United mess. I was looking forward to Spurs at home and Burnley at home from the Newcastle United forward. I've got nothing. Literally nothing. So if there are people who are sitting comfortably with 4 free transfers and a team, I'm also in the opinion that's all right. Let them test the waters and get creative and make mistakes while we learn and try to establish who the genuine picks are. Which are the opportunities, genuine opportunities outside of the fringe teams at the moment? Arsenal and Liverpool. Like literally out of the big teams, the opportunities are Arsenal, Liverpool. Palmer is not a convincing opportunity at the moment, which we thought it would be because of his fitness levels at the moment. So that's all we've got. And as somebody who's behind the game and doesn't want to utilize the things, we still have the opportunity to wait and see how Liverpool does, etc. Don't necessarily jump on an Arsenal punt because it's not a good long-term move, right? Outside of Rice, if you are going to punt on an Arsenal attacker not named Bukayo Saka, there isn't a strong punt. It's going to be likely a 1 week punt based on the minutes that you see. It's probably going to be a transfer out in 2-3 weeks because we saw that even Eze was, etc., was benched. So the edges both ways. If you're ahead of the game, you experiment. But if you're behind the game, you catch up and watch and let others experiment. It's not a problem to be behind the game at this stage.
Because a couple of things that came to my mind, right? Because obviously you're going to try to differentiate, but maybe let's say that 2 things you can do. Number one, you can change your formation maybe. We are seeing that more defenders are delivering this year. Use this as an opportunity to restructure your team. Maybe go to a 4 at the back, abandon the 3rd striker spot. Maybe you can do 1 week punts. Maybe what I was considering this week was maybe Virgil to an Arsenal defender and then switch it back in a couple of weeks. But the problem with that is you're exposing yourself to variance. Today, Arsenal could randomly, I mean, this is obviously a bad example because Arsenal play Wolves. Let's say they were playing somebody like an Everton, somewhat of a middling opposition. Arsenal could concede, Liverpool could keep a clean sheet, Van Dijk could get his goal. And you doing that 1 week punt, you could end up giving those points to the field. So it's very difficult to really find that edge in that sense, right? Ultimately, what I was thinking earlier, I have the Semenyo spot now. In midfield, I would keep Semenyo for 17, and then that's the one spot I would keep moving around. Maybe 18, 19, I go to a Liverpool mid. Maybe I go to a Cunha for a couple of weeks. Maybe you just have that one spot where I may be content to move around. Maybe something that people can consider.
That's a good shout, actually.
Yeah. I genuinely think if there's an attacking punt out there, it's on one of Isak, Ekitike or Woods. Like these are the, and Szoboszlai. Like I think the opportunity for people looking for creative moves to do something different outside of Foden, Thiago, Bruno Fernandes is this. There's no other attacking punts that jump off the hook. Even when you're looking at Arsenal, maybe Trossard, but again, it's dicey, right? You'd rather go for a defender when it comes to Arsenal, like a Hincapi or Luis Kelly or Calafiori who can't play this week, right? So there's nothing else that jumps off the page immediately.
And annoyingly, I wanted to punt on Calafiori this week, 5th yellow card. Wanted to punt on Sade this week, 5th yellow card. So even the punts are drying up.
I mean, but this is why it's okay to hold your resources for later. Let others take the punts.
Experiment,
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but the problem is, plus I have 5 free transfers, nothing to use.
That's what I was going to say. So some are in a position where others are catching up to your team. Then you can do those 1 week punts. And I think I don't want to play up analytics and prediction models too much, but the way models think about transfers is like it's a 1.5 point that you're giving up. So people think of it as 4 points. It's not really 4 points because you're not taking a hit. So think of it as 1 to 1.5 points that each transfer costs. So let's say you're trying to say, should I do, let me use an example. Should I do Semenyo to Otara this week? Because Otara plays for 1 week and then I bring him back to Semenyo when he plays Burnley at home, right? Reasonable move. Otara has a good fixture this week and Semenyo has a good fixture next week. Something like what you're also thinking about with Van Dijk and let's say Saliba if he's fit. So you have to then just ask yourself, do I think if I spend 2 transfers to do this trade, that's 3 points, let's say, is he going to score 3 points more than just holding that transfer? So it just helps me at least visualize that is the punt worth it or not. Ultimately, variance will variance. But if you think it's worth it, like if you're doing a Leeds defender to an Arsenal defender, it's probably worth it. But if you're doing 33% clean sheet odds to 50% clean sheet odds, it's tricky. 2 transfers to do that is tricky.
Absolutely, and always got to be punting on players who are not reliable. One like Dango is an example this week. I could do Semenyo to Dango and then do Dango to Semenyo again, but then I might have other issues which crop up next week, which means that transfer also gets booked up. So it's something very different, and it's something we'll have to learn. This is the first time we're all experiencing this, so I guess we'll learn on the job as we go.
Hopefully, we don't see it again anyway.
I would really hope we don't.
I think that FPL towers are fairly responsive and aware of the feedback mechanism in the communities, because the reaction to the manager chip was terrible and it got wiped off. And I think similar will be the case with this.
But like if you're having that meta discussion, the price changes show that it's actually work.
Yes.
It's worked.
Yes.
So a lot of people, I was at work yesterday, a lot of people came to me and said, 5 free transfers, what are we doing? What are we doing? Those guys are people who forget deadlines. So the engagement is back. People are now resetting their team to a good whatever. So in some ways, assistant manager was the opposite of that, where they were like, what the hell is this chip? Like, what am I supposed to do? I have a triple up from Liverpool already. How do I get slot? So it may be back. But as engaged managers who want an edge, we don't like it. But I don't want to criticize FPL towers as such, because the move has worked.
Yeah, fair point. And they have to cater to all audiences. And as the engaged managers, we have to just try. We're here to puzzle solve, right? Whatever puzzle is thrown at us, our job is to try to solve it. And maybe being patient is the way to solve it.
Yep. And that might be the key, right? That might be the differentiator between managers' patience, because it's very tempting now to be a bit more loosey-goosey with your transfers. Like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I'll sell him again in a week or so, because you always have the insurance now in that sense. So maybe showing some self-restraint, that could be the edge. I mean, Is it even okay to burn a transfer? Potentially. As weeks go, we'll have to look at it, I think, week by week. As humans, we're predicated not to want to do that, but many times it might be the best solution.
Yep. And also, like, for people like me that were, let's say, behind on the meta in terms of transfers, don't be afraid to catch up to the teams right now. It's a good opportunity to catch up to the template in terms of genuinely good picks like Thiago and Foden and Bruno Fernandes, right? Like there's nothing anybody can say against these picks at the moment. It's just clear in terms of their good picks. Don't be afraid to catch up, because others have not much to do except experiment at the moment, or maybe even burn transfers. Get yourself in a position to then see what you want to do in the future, because most people that are using transfers are people that don't have these guys and are sitting on the Boomers and the Thiago and the Matetas of the world.
Anything more on this topic, guys? Should we move on to the schedule?
I think one last thing I'll add is we don't need to worry too much, and it's probably adding to what LR is saying. We think everybody's buying Foden. Foden will have under 50% EO at the end of the deadline, right? So it's not like everybody is buying. It is lots of people are buying. Similarly, Thiago. I mean, these guys will be 50-60%. So yes, teams will look similar, but it's not like you will not gain if these guys do well.
Fair shot. Also depends on where you are in the rankings, right? If you're 2.5 million, there are also a lot of dead teams in the 2 millions that you can get past. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. But like the scary thing to do, right, for people that are chasing, is they will say that, you know what, everybody's buying Foden and Thiago, I won't get them. And that is digging your grave, in my opinion, because underlying data, fixtures, form, expected minutes, everything suggests that they're genuinely good picks. They're genuinely good picks. So you don't go against those picks. You decide which battles you want to fight. And I don't think this is a battle you should choose to fight.
Sure. Move on to the schedule.
Yep.
So first up, just to inform you guys which fixtures the guys at AFCON will miss. We are looking at game week 17 to a maximum of 22. This obviously depends on when their country gets eliminated from the AFCON, which we have to follow on a case-by-case basis. Now coming back to the schedule, we spoke to you guys about it on a few pods earlier, that game weeks up to game week 16 is sort of the last congestion in the fixture block. And you see that over here, the majority of teams now from game week 16 to game week 17 do have a free midweek. That is barring Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brentford and Fulham, who have Carabao Cup fixtures. Well, I do expect they will rotate. So I do think we will see some rest for these guys. And Palace, who have this fixture in the Europa League. And with Palace, is quite strange because they play Thursday and Saturday. So that lineup, what we're going to see on Thursday, I hope we are going to talk about a lot of reserves and young players, because there's no way they're going to recover in 48 hours for Leeds. Now the week after that, that is between 17 and 18, Arsenal and Palace are the only teams that play. That is the Carabao Cup fixture from the last week, which has been brought forward, which is why we didn't have that blank we were talking about potentially earlier. Then the next block is really where the fixture congestion gets thick again. Game week 18 to 21. Game week 18 starts on the 27th, and now game week 21, I think, is on the 7th of January. So that's effectively 4 game weeks in 10 days. So that's, you're talking about weekend, midweek, and then the weekend after that is the FA Cup. So that's when teams again will rotate. So again, you have to start being worried about this game week 18 to 21 fixture block. And I think you now have to give some attention to your bench. As we saw over the last period, rotation was rife. Players were randomly missing out. So use those free transfers also to beef up your bench during this period. And again, keep in mind, X minutes are king. Still don't buy those guys who are rotation risks just because you have those free transfers, thinking that, okay, I can move them on. Things can happen. Injuries can crop up. Other opportunities might emerge which you want to jump on. So again, X minutes over this period are king. Anything to add, guys? Ella, you first.
No, I think you've covered everything well. Just, I think everybody by default will have at least a decent fourth defender. And I think if you are somebody who's with like a Giu, for example, that's like a pretty much dead spot, though he could get some minutes in the next few, then you have to make sure that you have a decent playing fifth defender. That's all. Like, you need to have two subs that are playing so that you're able to sustain during this period.
We'll talk about, I guess, a detailed turnaround between each fixture once we get to closer to game week 18. It's a bit early for that now. Certain teams obviously have a better schedule. Certain teams have it worse. Liverpool actually have a quite kind schedule during that period. I remember Arsenal also all right. I remember Chelsea had it quite tough. So we'll have to analyze that on a case-to-case basis when we get there. Pras, anything to add?
Feeling nervous going into 18 to 21 with triple Man City that everybody has on the template, but we are where we are. So I'm generally looking at it as two blocks. Now 16, 17 as one block, and then 18 and onwards. And maybe going back to our previous discussion, having a few in your back pocket going into that period may be good for some restructuring that you may want to do to even increase your X minutes if you can.
Yep. So 17, 18, I think we can breathe a little bit. We're not expecting as much rotation.
Yep.
Anything else to add, guys? And we can talk about the upcoming fixtures now. The fixture turn I wanted to highlight now was potentially from that game week 18. And again, we are talking about looking at this as a single block of fixtures, right? So I'm looking right now at game week 18 to 21, which teams now shine during this period. And also it's very important that the teams at the top, you see the top 4, these are teams that have not been in Europe. So fatigue accumulation matters, right? Up to this point. Now West Ham, Everton, Manchester United and Brentford go on top. None of these teams have been playing in Europe. So their players, obviously, I think in terms of fatigue and freshness will be better. So keep these guys in mind. And let's say if you have free transfers, I'm maybe looking to get a Dewsbury Hall in this week and bench him, primarily in view of this period that is upcoming. Even though I don't need him right now, he's playing Chelsea and Arsenal. But if you can get guys from these teams with your free transfers, you have no other priorities, it's a good time to do it. Any thoughts, guys?
No, I agree. Like, if you don't have teams right now, like, I think two things that managers need to do is potential future targets that they might have in mind given the fixtures, let's say in 17, 18, 19, 20, and start structuring your squad towards that. So whether that's going for a bottom price midfielder like KDH in the midfield bracket or going for a Gio, you need to sort of semi-forecast the structure, your future targets, and then move towards that with the money management.
Any other fixture blocks you've identified, Pras?
See, right now I'm even including 16 and 17, and just now we have a full clear horizon, right? There's no chips in play. So this is the one that we're all looking at as we make our transfers. So this is the reason why Brentford is popular. Shade would have been a lot more popular as a pick. The guy got his 5th yellow. He was on my radar as well. Man United midfielders, like LR is on 2 already. I think, especially given that Mbeumo leaves, Bruno is a good option. Cunha is a great option. So I think those are rightly in the radar. West Ham have shown some improvement. So maybe somebody comes into the picture because Nuno is now putting in his blueprint a little bit. Like, we were thinking those guys, they will completely get railroaded by Brighton, but they weren't. Actually, they played reasonably well. Same with Man United. So maybe it's just game state in those 2 games and it didn't turn out, but I'm definitely watching West Ham. And so even picks like Bowen, Paqueta could come back. We'll see. Fulham, I think short term, Fulham's block is very good. I see people buying Harry Wilson. We talked about Raul Jimenez, Anderson as a centre back. I think those are good as a short term block to get onto. And I think that's about it. I think the one that I do look at is Arsenal and Liverpool, but I'll wait for that conversation later because the fixtures are now okay. So somebody can have the position that I don't need to triple up, but it's tricky if it's this week because this week you want an Arsenal triple up. So like I'm probably maybe selling an Arsenal defender or in the future, or some could sell Saka in the future because after Wolves away, it's not an amazing run. So I mean, those are just thoughts in terms of fixtures that I have on certain players, but it's better had when we talk on a team by team basis.
Alice on a
Just
team.
want to add,
Go ahead.
just in terms of West Ham, some underlying data that was quite interesting, and he's a minutes monster in this period. I'm talking about Jared Bowen. Just want to add that in the last 6 game weeks, he's sitting top for shots amongst all outfielders. So he's getting quite trigger happy at the moment. So just somebody to watch out for. That's why I wish I didn't go to Gue in terms of structure and restructure, because Bowen and Ekitike are two sort of players that are on my radar at the moment in terms of just that nicely priced striker who are emerging as options right now.
I agree with that. West Ham are quite interesting. I saw 90 minutes of them after a long while against Brighton. And I think they were kind of the better team in that game because Nuno's going full Nuno now. He's going full deep block and playing on the counter. He's having Bowen, Somerville, and he had Wilson came on in the second half who made the difference. Really, now he is going to lose both of his first choice wing backs. So that system largely depends on creativity from those guys. So I'm yet to see how they respond. And with Bowen under Nuno, I don't think he's going to be a very high in terms of underlying data, but again, you'll always get that 1 or 2 big chances. And there are a lot of people, I think, who have been burned by Bowen earlier in the season. Also, he had that good fixture block, right? I think it was around game week 9 or 10, and he got just 1 assist against Leeds in that entire block. But again, this is a different situation under a different manager. I think you can look at him. Again, Ekitike, obviously, very interesting one. But to talk on the negatives now, let's talk about Palace. I'll go back to the old one fixture schedule you see over here in terms of recovery periods. Now, you look at Palace. It's just bad. This just have one stretch of green you see over here that's around Christmas, but otherwise it's all yellows and reds. And for you guys wondering, 3 days is yellow, 2 days is red. There's a lot of reds you're seeing in the schedule, and we will see, I think, random players miss out like we saw with Munoz this weekend, but players like Gehi keep delivering. In terms of their attack, I think we've all moved off Mateta. There's no Sar anymore. There's no investment, but Palace defense, now the EO is high. Is that something you take on or just be like, whatever? They're doing well. I'll just invest one Palace defender. Is good housekeeping. LR, where are you on this?
So there's 2 sides to this, right? Like one is, I think the attack falls down drastically. So get down their attack because minutes management is a thing, and 60 minutes of attacker is not as good as 85 plus minutes of an attacker. So I think attack is an easy sell. But when it comes to defense, right, you're talking about 5 defenders. How do Palace play? They sit in a deep block. There's not much sprinting and running around that they do except for Danny Munoz in terms of ground coverage, etc. So he largely plays with those 5 defenders who are used to playing with each other, and they sit compact and defend, right? So it's not as energy warping as they do. But even then, we've seen when they have those Thursday games, they tend to lose their legs in the last 20-25 minutes of a game, which is maybe why they tend to sometimes concede chances in that period of a game. So if there are other opportunities like, let's say, Anderson, etc., opening up and you have a move there, or an Arsenal defender and you have a move there, I think it's a good move to make, but it's just never a hard sell. Because also what's happening, if you notice the game against Burnley, not many people earn their DEFCONs against Burnley. Palace defenders did. Why? Because even against Burnley, they sat back and absorb the pressure. Just because they're sitting and absorbing pressure, they're hitting those DEFCONs. So if they're getting a clean, it's like an 8-9 point clean as well. So it's never a hard sell. But if you have an Arsenal defender, etc., in your vision to convert a Palace defender into it, exception, Danny Munoz.
Munoz still might not make this weekend, man.
Yeah, not training today.
Bit worried about that. But anyway, this is the one fixture you're okay with him missing. It's Man City. But again, I think what it comes back to is, where are the other teams you will invest in? Most likely you go for an Arsenal. Maybe the City defenders, we are looking at that potential X minutes risks. You have to play at least 3 defenders in any week. Who else are you buying? Maybe you have a Virgil. Apart from that, which teams are keeping clean sheets? Very few. So I think you still go in Palace.
Everton keep keeping clean sheets, man. Like
Tarkowski.
after 2 game weeks, I think Tarkowski or Keane are on my radar.
From 18, yeah. From
And
18 especially, the fixtures are really good.
exactly, that's what I mean. So, as somebody actually not owning any Palace, as one of the biggest fans of Chris Richards pre-Wildcard, I like hate it, right? Because they're a good team, man. Like it's not like a situation of they're getting lucky. They play that way. They get defcons, and so everything that LR says is true. They do concede some chances, which triggers non-owners a little bit, and he keeps doing what he does. But I think in my position, I was thinking, yeah, it is something that I want to take on in that period. Maybe you get lucky with somebody else who also defcons, right? Like if you have to take on a Crystal Palace defender, don't take him on with a guy who doesn't defcon, because you'll just lose out in terms of just the defcon potential of them. Take him on with an Everton guy. Take him on with I will say it, but Konate or Van Dijk. Like those guys at least can give you a little bit of edge in terms of defcon, and then you hope to get lucky with either a goal or a clean sheet, which Crystal Palace don't give.
It's actually worth mentioning the Liverpool defenders now, because now that they're playing the guys that cover ground, and the fact that Bradley's etc. is fit as well, in the last 4 games they've conceded under 0.5 xg per game. So the underlying data has seen a sharp improvement when it comes to Liverpool as well, right? So I think now, because what do managers first do when they're losing goals, losing games, etc.? First thing is to settle the core and not pay as expensive and try to tighten up conceding chances. Right? I think that's what's happening with Liverpool in terms of how they're playing the game as well. So I think their defenders are good shots. So.
Yep. Even against Leeds, that was a game you'd expect them at 2-0. Any good team just sees it out. Then Konate just has a random brain fart moment, which lets them back in the game.
9 times out of 10 times, Liverpool see that game out. It was an anomaly in terms of what happened in the last 20 minutes.
And he had 2 big chances as well, Van Dijk.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I think this whole Salah thing might actually galvanize Liverpool a little bit. And I think I could see that last night in the performance at the San Siro. Let's say if they had gone there and lost something like 3-0, I would be a little bit concerned. But the fact that they won, the supporters were chanting Slot's name, I think I'm happy to hold my Liverpool guys.
Can we have the Liverpool conversation? Because I'm keen on talking about the defense and attack. Because that's the interesting team right now. That has maybe 2 middling fixtures right now, followed by 2 really good fixtures at home against Wolves and Leeds. Sure. So maybe perhaps early investment, like it falls into the category of not having to know where to transfer to spend. It's a poker people will know it's a good place to semi-bluff in terms of buying cards of a game where you definitely want to play those cards in 2 game weeks time, and you see what happens in the next 2 weeks against Brighton and who else? Liverpool have Spurs at home, Spurs away. Just decent fixtures.
And after that is interesting because then they have Wolves at home and Leeds at home. Those are the money
exactly.
matches.
So that's why it's a semi bluff, right? Because you definitely want those cards against Wolves at home and Leeds at home. So if you're trying to get creative, buy a game card in that game against Brighton and Spurs right now if you don't have transfers to spend elsewhere, and it's not as risky now if you're even buying attackers at the moment, because Gakpo's out for a while. Salah's not going to be there. It's very, very likely going to be a diamond with Wirtz and Isak and Ekitike ahead of him. Not everybody has the money to spend on an Isak. I just think Ekitike and Wirtz are both decent punts right now. I want to go early in terms of saying that if you're looking for a punt, these are players that we might be looking to cash in 2 weeks' time. If you don't know it, and especially Ekitike, man, like every time I've seen him, he's got higher volume of touches, higher volume of shots compared to Isak, and I just see him being involved in the goals, playing in the front too, and he's not that pricey at the moment, 8.4 million, right? So they're genuinely good players. I don't think Ekitike is looked out of place anytime I've seen him, whatever the state of the team, always amongst the chances, and I think Wirtz will come good too. So these are the players you need to be monitoring now for the next few.
To bring our listeners up to speed on what happened at the San Siro yesterday, Liverpool switched to a diamond formation. Wirtz was having some sort of injury issues. He wasn't good to start. So they played Ekitike and Isak up top with Szoboszlai behind them. Szoboszlai took a penalty after Isak was subbed around the 84th minute. So he does have some penalty share. We do know that for sure now. And Gakpo we expect to be out for a few weeks. So it's very likely Liverpool do continue in this diamond formation. When they do have Frimpong back, maybe they experiment with him on the right. But I think this will stick. And I watched the mini match of that game. Isak was very much the guy more goal hanging, but Ekitike, the ex-lively factor on him was much higher, like you mentioned, LR. I think in terms of an explosive punt, and I think we talk about punts, right? There are different kinds of punt. I would say now, let's say somebody like a Dango is more of a punt than somebody like an Ekitike. Despite Dango having more minutes in the league, you're still going to be getting now regular minutes for Liverpool, who are a much more established side. We know what we can expect. Yes, they have been disappointing us over the last few weeks, but that is not really a very risky punt. You take that for the next 4-block period and say, okay, fine. I can see if this guy is good for me. Then it's not good. I can move him on to Bowen later, who has a very good fixture run for something like 20 onwards. So maybe somebody like Wirtz, I know we've been burnt a little bit by him over the last few weeks, but I think in this number 10 role, playing behind these two guys, if he can get his fitness level up, somebody I think we should keep an open mind to as well over the next few weeks. Pras, your thoughts?
The context is that Liverpool are trying to tighten up, right? So sometimes also we don't want to get into the mindset of the Liverpool we know. The Liverpool we know is rock and roll, 3 goals a game. But if I was to project now, forgetting about the models or anything, just in my mind, I'm not seeing 3 goals even in the easier fixtures. I think there'll be more control, there'll be more. So that's the first thing. The second thing, it's a little bit of an unknown shot in the dark, whether it's Isak or Ekitike or Wirtz or Szoboszlai. Like right now, there's no idea on goal shares. Is it a great punt? Absolutely. And I think if you can stretch to Isak, even better. But Isak, the worry is minutes. How is the guy still in his preseason? I don't understand. Like, what's going on here? Like every game he's not able to play over 70 minutes. But this was his time to shine. This was the time when he would be on penalties. Like I think he's still on penalties. But the fact that he's not on the pitch for 90 minutes makes him not so great as an option. So I wish there is one that you can say that this is the guy you can go for and this would be an ultimate punt. Each of them have their issues.
It's just when you watch them, it's just clear Ekitike is that guy.
Yep.
He's just the most involved. He's just the most sharp. He's just the most volume-heavy attacker. He's like Bruno, Pras, in terms of like Wolves game was insane.
Now you're trying to sell him to me. I know what you're talking.
But it's insane. Like, no, genuinely the uptick of open play involvement that Bruno has had, I think it's a direct correlation. It's something we spoke about in a pod a month ago in terms of how Cunha is great for Bruno. In terms of he does a lot of the midfieldery work. So Bruno actually comes, and that's just played out. Bruno, I spoke about the last pod, how the Zoph's butt clench test, my butt was tight watching Bruno in the game against West Ham. And then again, it's high volume chance involvement for everything. By the way, Wolves were terrible. They shouldn't even be a championship team. They were that bad and they gave us that spit. Zoph and I were talking before the pod. Zoph said it probably they fancied winning points against United, which is why they were so open. It was insane, man. Before we come to United conversation, I want to say that Ekitike feels like that. Everything good that Liverpool do, Ekitike seems involved in that. Either creating or at the end.
But Wirtz is also that busy player, right? Remember, he's like a swimmer. Like he's all around. And if you give him that diamond role, top of the diamond, I feel like he'll do the busy work, like around getting the ball. That Bruno role, I feel Wirtz will do that.
But I feel like now that especially Gakpo's out, the output merchant might become Ekitike.
Yeah, it's fair. I just, without pens, I worry a little because he was on the pitch when Szoboszlai took. So one thing we know is Ekitike is definitely not on.
No, not on pens.
So if you're not on pens, you're playing for an attack, for a team that is struggling, that is more focused on their defensive side of the game, then I just think if I'm on a free hit, I go there 100%. If I'm making a transfer, I worry that who else am I not going for if I spend my money on Ekitike. That's the issue with it. But I don't mind it. Isak, I don't mind. Ekitike, I don't mind. Wirtz even, like somebody who's had severe trauma from Wirtz, is also fine. Because he's going to get the minutes as long as he's injury-free. Although I see in the chat, some people are saying Wirtz is still managing something that maybe over the 18 to 20 period. Then again, he's ruled out. Szoboszlai is the guy, man, but he's on 4 yellows. Like, everyone has some issue.
Which is fine, no, Pras. I'm thinking of around game week 18, we get there. And Szoboszlai is somebody I want to buy with a deep bench. I think it's fine. I'll write it out ultimately.
How much want Wolves at home and Leeds at home.
If it's a problem,
if he misses one of those.
But like, let's say Munoz. I know a lot of people have been put off Munoz, and we have the classic Diego Costa example from years back. A lot of times we don't buy guys because of these 4 yellow cards, and they just keep clocking points. So when you see these fixtures for Sober, say, okay, fine, don't buy him right now, but at least for 18, 19, are you going to be in 18 when he's playing Wolves and Leeds? Oh, I won't buy him just because he's on 4 yellow
No.
cards.
So I think that's what I mean. If you're sitting here today, he's a harder buy because you don't have to jump in for Brighton. So it's actually a reverse point to what LR was saying. If you're getting on Ekitike, I get it. If that's fine. But if you're going on Sabosla, you get him now. That double bluff point doesn't work with him because if he gets it against Spurs away is a yellow, like X yellow card is higher, right? So then you get it before Wolves at home and you're like, what the hell? I shouldn't have got the guy. That's all I'm trying to say. Maybe wait for 2 weeks if you want to get Sabosla.
Yep. The underlying numbers are good, surprisingly. NPXGI, he's out on top, but I think a large function of that is the minutes. You look at everybody else, he's on 540. Salah 300, Gakpo 400, Verse 300, Ekitike 300, McAllister and Gravenberch, you're never really going to go for. So just by virtue of minutes, I think he becomes the best attacker pick.
Yeah. But again, it's just thinking about what Pras said also, right? It's a bit like no need to hurry there. You don't need to force the issue there because we don't know how good and how attacking Liverpool are going to be, right? Like I jumped on, the thought that comes to mind is I jumped on United double midfielders before West Ham and Everton at home. And the fact of the matter is we were shit and we didn't do much and we didn't get points for that. That could also be the case with Liverpool, a team that is still finding its feet from an attacking point of view at least. So you don't need to force the issue.
And getting back to Ekitike and Isak from what I watched yesterday, I think even if you give me 10.5 million to spend, I would be buying Ekitike. Isak just isn't there in terms of sharpness. And Ekitike is their top goal scorer. I think that counts for something. I think he's going to get consistent minutes now. There's a chance for both of them to strike up some chemistry also going forward. I think he's clear for me over Isak, even without the pen share.
Just not able to get my head around it, man. This guy is world class. Like we were saying he's Haaland level end of last season. What is going on? Like,
I have a theory about
maybe
that Pras. Ultimately, see, the team are not playing to his strengths. You see the way Newcastle play. It's quite the opposite. Newcastle are struggling a little bit to integrate Voltemade because Voltemade doesn't make runs behind. Voltemade wants a ball to feet. Liverpool are quite the other way around. They've been playing with a striker who's always generally been quite technical. Your Firminos and the guys up front who like to work off the ball, who like the ball to the feet. So I think that period of adaptation is going to take some time. It will get there. And I think this formation shift will help.
Also, he's whenever I watch him, right, he feels like he's in preseason still. He's just not sharp. So I wonder if there's a long-term, sometimes if there's a 5% pain in your body, you're never going to go full throttle because you're always worried, right? So I've not seen that full throttle version of Isak from Newcastle yet. It just doesn't look like he's there with the fitness. I wonder if there's a niggling issue that keeps cropping up, which is why he keeps playing at 80%, if you get my drift.
Anything to add on Liverpool, guys? We can move on to Arsenal.
Yeah.
So Arsenal's quite interesting now. Rice, I think maybe now he's the second highest scoring mid in the game. Bruno's overtaken him, but they're thereabouts in the top 4, and he's had 5 shots in the box the entire season, right? So there is a bit of a dearth of midfielders in general now, and we spoke about the third Arsenal pick being a bit tricky now. You go with Saka, that's fine. Lots of guys are going with Raya. Timber also, we've seen the minutes, I think, might be a bit of a doubt now, game week 18 to 21. We don't know what's going to happen there. The current rumors now that Gabriel is expected to be back in full training around Christmas. So Gabriel could again be a factor around 19, 20, 21. So again, you don't want to necessarily block off that third Arsenal spot. And that also means that potentially that maybe somebody like Hincapie becomes very much short term. Versus earlier we were thinking maybe you could ride him till January. And the problem with Saliba, he's again very similar to Raya. He doesn't do the other stuff we like. Your DEFCON, your goal threat is very likely 2 and 6 for 6 million. Do you want to go there? In attack, we just heard that Trossard might potentially have a problem. The Eze maybe is a big. Merino, I don't think now he's going to be starting a lot of games at centre forward. Gyökeres is back. Havertz is around. It's getting very difficult now, I think, to pick a third Arsenal, and you do want to invest in them. They're league leaders. I think they have the best fixture, obviously, this week against Wolves. Pras, what are you thinking?
I mean, I went for Raya for this reason. That exactly.
I missed that. What was that?
I said "Aapki Rai kya hai?"
Okay.
Rai for non-Hindi
translation means what is your opinion?
Opinion,
Yes.
Exactly. Raya means opinion, not Raya, but Rai. So this is why I went for him, because I felt that there is going to be this point where there will be no third pick and you'll want a third pick. And it's not the highest ceiling pick, it's not the sexiest of picks, but I just thought there's points to be taken there. And that was the logic with Raya. And actually, I'm not even convinced that you have to have triple Arsenal going forward. Like if you look at the fixtures going forward, let's just look at them a little bit, like let's stare at them. And if you see, and if the argument is Arsenal will keep a clean sheet against everyone, of course I understand that. But let's talk about defense and attack, right? When you have played Wolves, then away to Everton are good for goals, right? They're free flowing, so not a great clean sheet fixture. You have, what is that, Brighton?
Brighton.
Right?
I'll read them out.
Brighton at home.
Brighton, Villa, Bournemouth, Liverpool.
There you go. So none of these teams are sit-back teams, apart from Wolves, which they're playing this week. They're not banker cleans. So I'm looking at this fixture list and going, do I want double defense? And it's also the period where Timber did get a rotation, right, in that midweek game. So if players do come back, I'm like thinking, do I want Timber even? So you can question any of the Arsenal picks while also acknowledging that they're great. And this sounds so weird. And people listening to this who don't really follow FPL will be like, these guys are talking about buying Liverpool and selling Arsenal. Like, what's wrong with them? But this is what it is, where you have to go by fixtures, you have to go by minutes. And sometimes in the best years of Man City, people didn't have Man City picks apart from late riser who kept getting Aguero. So it's not that easy. And I think in Arsenal's case, where everybody's coming back from injury, I just think it's okay to just have two and wait, or even one.
Because even with Gabriel, when he does come back, will he play 4 games in the 10-day period? Not necessarily. It is going to be a bit tricky.
The best play, if you want if you're in the market for a third Arsenal pick, in my opinion, is in a situation where you're ahead of the game, you have your Fodens and Thiagos in place, you see the lineups midweek, basis which you predict the attackers this week, and go for an attacker against Wolves and see what happens. I think that's just the best case scenario as a short-term punt. Just because Wolves are terrible, like genuinely terrible. Like if Eze sits out the game midweek, take a shot there. If Gyökeres sits out the game, take a shot there. Outside of that, there isn't much. I agree with the case Pras made.
Fair shot, guys. Let's talk goalkeepers.
Just by the way, on Rice also, something from the scout notes which was quite interesting. Just numbers which are worth reading. He's had 6 shots. He's the second highest midfielder, point scoring midfielder in the game at the moment. He's had 6 shots in the box all season. We're talking about the second highest point scoring midfielder in the game. He scored twice. He's had 1 attacking return in the last 5 matches. And he's sitting second of from midfielder rankings this season. Now, a lot of people tell me that yes, now it's the game of DEFCONs, etc. as well, but I don't think that's the case. I think the large reason for this and the meta being like this so far is because Saka, Palmer and Mo, who have been the big dogs of FPL midfield, just haven't been up to the mark. This time, last season, after Gameweek 15, all 3 of them had 100 plus points. So far, we have Bruno Fernandes sitting top of the table at 85 points. So the meta has shifted there in terms of nobody really has stepped up. So if you're going to go into the second part of the season thinking that DEFCON powered midfielders is the way to go, you need to ask yourself the question that are Palmer, Saka, somebody else like Salah going to be continuing to stay quiet, or are they going to step up? And that's the question you need to ask yourself going into the future. Don't be stuck to what has happened in the first 15 games of the season in terms of DEFCON powered midfielders doing well so far in the season.
It's backed up by the numbers. What you mentioned in terms of XGI, not penalty goal. This is by the last 6 game weeks. Saka, Foden, Bruno, now they've started to rise to the top. And that's why you're seeing the points also come in for these guys. Bumo, I think, has been a little bit unlucky. He's the highest for NP XGI amongst mids all season. But apart from that, you go to the average, you're talking about 0.5. Less than that, right? I think we go to Neto, you're talking less than 0.5 NP XGI per game. That is poor. The data just isn't great for any midfielders over here.
Yep. The good thing is, it's going to stick around now. I was actually very worried maybe a month ago that Arsenal's not going to be a conversation to have in the last 6-7 weeks of the season. And henceforth, City and Liverpool might not be a conversation to have in the last 6-7 weeks. Now we have a title race, and I think that's going to go fairly deep as well. So these picks are going to be continuing to remain picks for a while as well.
Right.
It's also a case of there's not enough midfielders on penalties playing 90 minutes. Like if you wanted consistent picks, like we've lost Mbumo,
Palmer.
Cunha, was he a midfielder? He was a forward. We've
Forward.
Palmer. Gordon gets pens, but he doesn't play all the minutes. Like if you go down the list, you'll struggle to find good penalty taking midfielders, and that's just the lay of the land. This is why Szoboszlai takes a pen and we're all drooling. Like Enzo Fernandez was on pens for a little while and we were like, okay, Enzo Fernandez. Because it's hard to find this product of minutes plus set pieces plus pens consistently this year. And it could change, as LR is saying, in the future. But as of now, this is why the meta is shifting to 4 at the back. It's just more than one reason. It's not just def cons. It's just there is not a lot of availability.
Yep. I think 3 guys on this list are on penalties. Saka, Bruno, and who else? I saw one more guy over here.
Enzo Fernandez sometimes.
Enzo, yeah, but I think that will go down now with Palmer back. And Szoboszlai, obviously, we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
That was also not necessarily 100%. Yeah, exactly, with Isak.
Gibbs White is also questionable.
Saka still is not 100% also, just worth mentioning.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Correct. Because you don't know with Gyökeres, I don't think we've seen him take one yet. I think we saw him one, but that was again that 100 goal record thing.
Yeah.
Goalkeepers, we must give a special mention to Bob Sanchez, who kept Chelsea in the game against Bournemouth, man.
That's actually a midfielder, Semenyo. I thought especially now that Pras sold him, Semenyo did his best to screw him again. He's had a really, really good game.
What was it? When was the goal alert? I have not shared this story. LR knows this. I'm at this
the third
lunch,
minute,
right?
The third minute. When
I'm at this lunch. I've just sold Semenyo. And I see this alert, Bournemouth 1-0. And, suddenly like the trigger warnings come and I'm like, this must be Semenyo. And I put my phone away. So the second alert of goal disallowed doesn't come. It ruins my whole afternoon thinking, how is it? How is it possible that Semenyo keeps doing this? And then later I come home and like, oh, Semenyo goal disallowed. But yeah, he's good as well.
I mean, you have Evan Nilsson to thank for that, man. It's all Evan Nilsson, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Semenyo versus Minteh, guys. And LR, I watched Minteh finally for 90 minutes this season and I was not impressed.
He was anything but mint. Like, I'll say you that I had so much expectation from that West Ham game, and he was so wide throughout the game, never coming into the box. I can't wait to get rid of him. Game week in the next week, 2 weeks. But I'm going to give him the prime Liverpool fixture and see what happens after that.
Yeah, because I know Pras also mentioned... Go ahead.
One of the problems of making the moves on Saturday night as well. If I made the move on Tuesday, I would have sold Minteh instead of Dewsbury Hall. But I've done the opposite because I made the move on Saturday night.
I was very close to doing it, so I reached out to Pras before making the transfer. That Pras, I'm going to join you guys on Minteh. Both of you guys have it. I don't want to be left out. And Pras goes like, yeah, I'm going to sell him the next week for Shadow. Like, bro, if you're looking to sell him, maybe I really shouldn't be looking to buy him. You remember that, Pras?
I mean, if Shade was fit, then I would have done that. But now I can't. But I'll probably hold him. Like, he's one of those picks where some games he looks really bad and some games he looks so good that because I watched those and I got. And he's also, what is he, 6 million? It's okay, man.
Yeah. But there has been a role change in terms of just how much width he has. The last game I thought, okay, he's playing against a team that's 5 at the back. That's why it's happening. And West Ham at home will just be a much better fixture. And there was nothing. No joy. I was like,
he still has Burnley at home, Sunderland at home, and another game against West Ham. So we'll see.
Liverpool.
Yes, Liverpool as well. Against Kirkes.
Yeah. Exactly. Or Robbo. We never know. But yeah, that's the game.
No, Robbo played midweek, so no chance.
Okay.
Decent turnaround though, plus Tuesday to Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but will he want, he keeps, that spot he keeps doing one place than the other place.
Right, but I think now with that sort of rest period, it becomes more of a selection issue than a fatigue issue, especially because they have a free midweek. They're out of the Carabao Cup. So they have a free midweek either side of 17.
Yeah, he could play Robertson just so that because he knows that the threat comes from Minteh.
Now going to goalkeepers, now obviously a lot of people have now stuck with Pope. If you made the transfer to Rhea already, that's fine. Now let's look at some of the other goalkeeper options in terms of expected goals conceded now. Henderson, let's just go by some of the teams. Henderson, I think I don't necessarily like because they're just better options in the Palace defense. They all offer some sort of goal threat, defcon. So if you're going to invest in the Palace defense, I don't necessarily like Henderson. Sanchez, I do want to talk about a little bit now with Chelsea. I'm a little bit worried about the downward trend we've been showing. Yes, we are very good against Barca, very good against Arsenal, but since then, we've drawn, lost. And what happens with this Chelsea team is as soon as you take one cog out of it, you take a Fofana out, you take a James out, the team crumbles completely. And what's going to happen over this coming period, we're going to have to rotate that backline. We've seen that Fofana can't play thrice in a week. James can't play thrice in a week. Obviously, Caicedo will come back and that will shore up the defense, but I'm just a little bit worried about Chelsea over this period. That being said, sub 5 million, I still think is an okay option. If you can rotate him for Verbruggen with those tough fixtures away to Newcastle, away to Man City, even better. But let me just go back to this clean sheet odds over here now. You see projected clean sheet percentage. Let me just enlarge this. With Chelsea now, these are 34, 33%. That's home to Villa, home to Bournemouth. Again, very good attacking teams. These are not banker clean sheets you see over here. The real good period for Sanchez actually comes after game week 21. One goalkeeper that does interest me seeing over the odds over here is Kelleher. You see Brentford are third now for clean sheet odds and 4.5 is a very attractive price again. Because I think if you're not going for Rhea, then you ideally want to spend below 5 million. You don't want to go necessarily to a Pickford. I know Everton have good fixtures at game week 18, but 5.5 million for a goalkeeper fees who isn't Rhea feels like a lot. Kelleher, again, the rotation, let's say Ella, now somebody like us who already got Verbruggen, the rotation is actually quite decent. This week we get by, we play this one Dubravka, but then after that, let's say we look at buying Kelleher around game week 18, 19. The rotation with Verbruggen is quite nice. Somebody we can look at, or somebody I think you can potentially play every week for 4.5 million for the next 4 to 5 game week period. And then after that, you can assess, then potentially move him on to Sanchez. Because Sells, the problem is, I think a lot of people have been interested by him. The injury to Murillo is very concerning because, again, the drop-off there from Murillo to Morato, huge. Unless Murillo, we get some sort of consistency in terms of minutes. I can't really get behind investing over there. You guys have any thoughts?
I think us as Bart, Dubravka owners, we don't need to worry too much about the rotation. We were like, Bowen scored a 5% goal from an extremely tight angle. Otherwise, there was a 10-pounder there for the taking. He was sitting top for bonus points. He had a save point and it was just there. So that will come. I've seen he tends to do really well for bonus points as well. See it out for the next 5-6 weeks before moving. Like in terms of differentiation, there's not much between the defensive capabilities of Brentford and Brighton. Like it's pretty much different soup, but same cutlery, crockery sort of situation. So I wouldn't change and look to spend a transfer there. If you're spending a transfer, then you'd rather go for a premium in Raya or Alisson even, given the fixtures that Liverpool have. That's where you go at the moment. Otherwise, you stick with what you have.
With Brighton, I do want to give the heads up that they picked up a lot of yellow cards. Weaver and Dunk are both on 4 yellow cards. Either of them get suspended, it's a bit tricky.
But it doesn't affect them as much. In fact, Weaver affects them from an attacking perspective. I really wish Weaver was a defender because he's so attacking. He's so good for DEFCON. He ticks all the boxes except for the fact that he doesn't get 4 points for a clean sheet. Dunk is not in the best of form generally for Brighton as well. So I don't think it affects too much from a defense.
I think for the goal they conceded. And somebody that was interesting, did you notice that De Kuiper was taking corners on that left side instead of Minteh? Earlier it was Minteh taking them on that side. So Minteh doesn't even have the set pieces anymore.
Yep. It's a we didn't watch, but then we have Van Heck and Gehi, man. Like people
What
that
the hell,
have owned these two for the season, go to your temples on Sunday and continue doing the good work that you've been doing, temples, churches, mosques, whatever, and keep doing the good work that you've been doing all season because they've just been kissed by the FPL gods. I keep saying that.
So that Thai show I spoke about, that's what it's about. They actually build a temple to scam some money out of people. So good.
Yeah. Get people to go there, especially the Man United defense owners.
Yeah. So I guess we have to round up the goalkeeper picks, guys. Now, let's say if you have now, I think maybe you can potentially buy 1 week of information, see how good Dubravka is this week, or do you see an immediate upgrade in moving to somebody like Kelleher if you've carried Pope through till now?
See Dubravka, see what happens.
And also see how Brentford do against Leeds. I guess gives you an idea of their defensive strength as well. Because I think they've kept only 2 clean sheets all season.
Yeah. I was chatting with FPL Dummy Tom, who's the Planet FPL Brentford correspondent, before a free hit 2 weeks ago. And he's like, feel free to go for our attackers, but our defense hasn't convinced all season.
Anyone stand out?
And if you're going for a defender in that team, it's about going for Collins or I forgot.
Vandenberg or Coyote?
Vandenberg or Collins, because they're good for DEFCON, they're good for set pieces. So not so much love for the keeper there.
Right. Pras, you agree?
Collins, 4 yellows.
Collins on 4 yellows
FYI.
also.
Yeah. Like another annoying, would have been a good pick. He's better on DEFCONs, right? So, no, I don't think anything to add. Like, I agree with Ella. Like, stick to your keeper. I don't think there's an obvious keeper change.
No, but if you have
people in the chat are mentioning
Pope and
Pickford
Dubravka
in a couple of weeks.
We discussed Pickford also. 5.5 is a bit of a deterrent because when you can get Tarkowski for cheaper, who's getting DEFCON, Keane who's shitting DEFCON. And also Everton, I do want to monitor. They're going to be losing Ndai and Gay. That is a big chunk of the team that's gone. Gay is very big for them.
They beat us without him, but yeah.
I think that actually led to what we are seeing in terms of KD's upturn in form, right? Because I think that goal, he wouldn't have necessarily taken that shot with if he had the entire squad of 11 on the pitch. Maybe he would have looked to make a pass. Then it became like, what the hell, let me take a shot. And since then, what I've noticed from watching the highlights has been a bit of difference in his body language, much more of a main man vibe. So we have United to thank for the KD.
An important phase for him. Like every interview that you see, it's all about trying to get on the plane for England, right? So there's a huge motivation there where he wants to see himself get into the World Cup squad.
Yep. So I think our recommendation for those guys who are stuck with Pope for so long, give it 1 more week. Field Dubravka, and let's see how the landscape looks a week after. Because even Chelsea, if you want to move to Bob, I think we're going to concede to Everton. I'm not very confident about a clean sheet in that fixture because, again, this is the week that Everton get Gay back and they have Ndai still. Next week is when they get a little bit weaker.
But you're always a Chelsea pessimist, Zoph, like especially with Sanchez. Like I feel he for under 5 million.
Under 5 million right now, I think it seems good.
Maresca goes into this shell kind of mid-season, right? Where when there's congestion, you can already see it. Like, okay, it looks like they're conceding chances or whatever, but he just gets a lot of clean sheets. He's just a good keeper under 5 million. At some point, like I'm also looking to do that downgrade once I need
around
the money.
2021 plus we will be there. I think that's when the
also what's happened
really
is
good.
So like for the past 3 games, you guys haven't had the best player in the league in midfield not play for your team. That's going to change now. He's going to be back from suspension. Is he going to AFCON or is he back from suspension? He's not going to AFCON, right?
He's not going to AFCON. He's from South America.
So exactly. Sorry, Colombia. Yeah. So is Colombia or Ecuador? I forgot that as well.
I think Ecuador.
Ecuador, yeah. So that's going to bring a big change into your defensive lineup as well because he does the job of 2 people.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you have to give credit to Bob himself in terms of his shot stopping, his recovery from crosses, his passing. This is the best I've seen him in a Chelsea shirt. So
where is the shirt, Zoph, by the way?
Oh, I forgot to wear it today. It's in the closet. I posted it on the Discord, so I have proof I got it. But today I was just a bit all over.
I know, we've seen it. And it's a very nice shirt as well.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah. Next spot.
Before you go to Thailand, we need to see it.
Done. Anything else to add on this?
No. Let's get into the juicy free hit discussion.
But before that, let us do the plug for our Discord offer.
So guys, those who have watched this, we're already 3 weeks down, but you still have 3 weeks left if you want to get involved in this offer, which we have, which is essentially 2/3 off for the month. So if you want to join, try it, see the Discord. It's been lovely actually seeing so many new people. A lot of new channels have popped up. So it's nice to see. So if you want to join the fun or try the fun, it's 66% off if you join between now and the 26th of December. If you like it, you can carry on. If you don't like it, you can cancel it. But it'll be nice if you can and want to join us and support us.
I'll just put on my marketing hat because I know that there's a lot of people in the market for something as specific as this. So on the Discord, Pras and Zoph do have their own channels as well where they post every time they make the moves as well. So if you fancy getting an insight there, come hang with us on the Discord.
I mean,
I
not
saw
just
Zoph where it made it into a Zoph zone. So I saw the alliteration. So I also went for Pras planning. So yeah, we have it.
Yeah, and it's not just our transfers, right? It's also how our thoughts evolve. The transfers I want to make on Monday are often very different from the transfers I want to make on Friday. So I also like it in terms of evolution of thoughts. You can sit and observe and understand. It helps me also as well to document that to a certain extent.
Yep.
So quite enjoying it so far. Cool. Let's do.
So if you want to get involved, it's you have to join patreon.com// the FPL Wire. And then if you become a member, you'll get this discount and you can join us.
Let's do the free hit discussion, guys. So I made two versions over here. And honestly, I like the Haaland one a lot more. I'll just walk you guys through it for audio. This double defense with Raya and Lewis Kelly. He's there primarily over the centre back options because Calafiori obviously is suspended. I hope he can get a bit forward. Anderson, Chaloba, Bruno Fernandes, Saka captain, Dango, Bumo, Thiago, Haaland, Ekitike, with Mukiele Vandenberg on the bench. The no Haaland version, I put Palmer in there. And honestly, I'm not very fond of the Palmer pick. I think he has some way to catch up now in terms of match fitness. He looked very, very rusty against Bournemouth. He was left out of the squad yesterday, and that was a pre-planned thing, as Maresca mentioned. So minutes will be good against Everton, but at best, I'm guessing maybe again 60 to 70 minutes. And it's not necessarily a fixture I think you can really target. Everton are not going to concede 3 or 4 goals. What else are you gaining over there?
Just wanted to mention, historically, he loves playing against Everton.
Everton, oh yeah, he got the 4 goals, right?
He likes playing against that team. If I wasn't free hit, I'd punt Palmer.
Would you go without Haaland?
On free hit, yes, depending on Palace's lineup on Thursday.
I don't know, man.
Like, Palace is the one team I'd be okay going without Haaland on free hit. Genuinely, like, they give me a little bit of confidence compared to the Fulham Sunderlands of the world. Also, Palace are legit good. Like, and I especially rate Glasner's ability in big games.
I get that, but the trade-off in this team basically is you're getting Isak over Ekitike and you're getting Palmer. Both these guys seem a bit flaky right now to go against Haaland. Haaland could outscore the two of them combined and it would not surprise me.
Not so much Palmer. If I was on free hit, I would 100% go with Palmer. Even take the 70 minutes, but go with Palmer. He's just you got to take that chance, in my opinion.
I mean, Palmer and Haaland means you're leaving out Bruno or Saka. That I don't like. I think those two guys are obviously non-negotiables. Even Bumo, I really like. I think the matchup against Bournemouth, who may be without Senesi, we don't know that yet. And I think if Senesi is out, you target that fixture hardcore. Because I saw a video from Adam Cleary a few months ago. Senesi is the single most important player in Areola's system, similar to how Hoyson was last year in terms of the build-up play, in terms of ball progression. If Senesi is out, it's a big red flag.
Yeah. So how I would go about it if I was free hitting this week is I would first prioritize my Arsenal, and just because the Wolves game is so much upside, I probably wouldn't go Raya. I would go with one defender, whether that's Timber or Lewis Kelly. I would 100% go Saka, and then decide a second attacker based on the minutes that you see in the Champions League tonight. Like, I think that's how you start building, because I think that's the highest upside fixture in terms of attack. Then you get in Palmer. Then you get in maybe a Watkins or a Rodgers, because if you want to take a chance against West Ham. And now there's a different air around Aston Villa, right? Because of the wins that they've been clocking, etc. They are going to prioritize the league. That matters a lot for them. And then everything's open. But
I'm
like,
not
this
feeling
is
the
how
Villa
it
thing,
start.
man. The Villa thing of West Ham, I think Nuno's got them a little bit tighter, and Villa away are just a different animal compared to home. I'd see them scoring maybe a couple of goals. And again, the goal share is quite spread around in that team. It's difficult to target a Villa player.
So the easy attackers that come out there, then so Saka, Arsenal second attacker. Thiago is pretty obvious, playing Leeds at home. Go Dango Utara if you feel like he's going to play this game. Bruno Fernandes, Palmer. You have enough, leaving you with one punt to go wherever you want, whether that's Wirtz, whether that's Ekitike. I would go Ekitike based on just X liveliness, and then one Arsenal defender, and then you play the clean sheet odds and decide where you want to go for other clean sheet points.
Pras, your thoughts? Is Pras around? I think we're getting cut off over here. Not hearing anything from you guys.
I think his face has just stalled.
Yep. I think there we go. He's back with us. Pras, you're back with us?
Yeah, sorry.
I think
a second. But I heard LR. Sorry, did
I think you're fine now.
I think my internet is unstable.
You're fine
You're
now.
fine now.
Yeah, so the problem with this free hit is you don't know which defenders to get as such. This is why I think the double defense just gets a little bit of a better look in. Maybe you can go double Chelsea defense with Kukurea. But apart from that, there is no clear defensive pick this week. Nobody's over 40%.
Nobody's over 40%. That's why Arsenal, the thing is, who are you going to get your second attack? You're going to get a Rice? But with Rice, Rice is a tick-along guy. You get the 6 to 8 points from Rice, right? You're not expecting necessarily a 14-pointer from Rice. So on a free hit, I'm not so fond of that. Have I lost you?
So you get one Arsenal attacker, you get a Liverpool defender. Yeah, you're right. The clean sheet odds are not the best this week for nobody. I think Chelsea is where you go. Nobody else really jumps. What's a clean sheet we can call? Sunderland Newcastle would be a good game to call a clean sheet, but it's a derby. It's a local derby that's happening in the league after a long time. So not that game.
But for who?
Maybe Brent.
For Sunderland or Newcastle?
Yeah, exactly. You do. Just there's no great defensive picks in there.
That's why I put Anderson in, but again, you have Leno. Leno has been catastrophic this season.
Yeah.
That's why I try to get some DEFCON guys, at least with Chalobah. At least if he concedes, you have DEFCON. Anderson concedes, you have DEFCON. Timber centre back, again, you can get some DEFCON over there. Lewis Kelly, you get some attacking threats. So you have that sort of upside to balance it out.
Yeah, and a Chelsea defender. You throw in Sanchez and a Chelsea defender. Just have to play the odds.
Got an early sub, Zoph, last night. Was it
something
or just
he does this thing, man. 45-minute subs to manage load. But what was interesting was Fofana, who came on, he got subbed off with an eye injury around the 80th minute. So will Fofana be back for Everton? That's something to be monitored. If Fofana is back, we can be a bit more optimistic on Chelsea. But remains to be seen whether James is going to play this one, because James now has played 2 games. He's played Bournemouth and Atalanta.
Yeah. A couple of decent shouts from the chat. Actually, they shouted Matty Cash again because he's got that banger in him. If you fancy a defender against West Ham, maybe a good chance to try to get 6 points. And Lewis Hall, if he's rested in the Champions League.
Ben White
upside
is good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, White would be amazing. Yeah, that's a defender I'd go for. 100%.
If Saliba is out.
If Saliba is out, because again, once Saliba is in, he could play Timber on the right, Saliba in Cappy central. But that's why the Lewis Kelly one is just fun, man. Lewis Kelly, is going to start. He gets forward.
But he's not Ben White. Like, Ben White was on every attack, and Wolves will give you space, man. So if Saliba's out, that's your defender to go for.
Ben White is what we thought Timber could be.
Yeah.
Did you see the win?
And he was just so much more natural, right? On that side with Mazurki.
Yeah. Wolves win odds for this game are 1%. That's the lowest I've seen.
Yeah. Well, this.
By the way, there's a. Go on.
No, I was like this fixture for Arsenal is the highest goals expected and the highest clean sheet expected all season.
Yeah.
Let's move to the captaincy discussion then, boys.
Yeah.
It's straightforward this week, man.
Plus, I think it depends a little bit on the minutes I would like to see today. Now, let's say if Saka plays 90. It's not exactly a short turnaround. I know it's a later game on Saturday, but that would concern me a little bit. I do think Arsenal will sort of want to make it a statement win, because keep in mind, City are playing on Sunday. You want to get that 3-0, 4-0 win out there. That's how you bounce back from the defeat. And I think you see the media has made a lot about Arsenal players' reactions after that goal went in, how the players slumped to the floor. A lot of media guys have spoken about why are they so disappointed. So it's important for the team to show that bit of bounce back ability to sort of come back with a 4-0, 5-0 win. So I do think there's a tonking there over here.
Yeah, but they're not going to play 90 minutes. They're top of the Champions League table, 5-5. I mean, I may look stupid for people watching this after the Champions League game, but there's going to be a lot of minutes management, I feel, in tonight's game.
Yeah. I'm with Pras on this one. I mean, having seen 90 minutes of that game, I was just telling Zoph, Pras, before you came on, that I saw the 10 minutes of the game and I could not believe my eyes in terms of what Wolves were doing. And like, as a Bumo Cunha owner, I was like, this is the cash-in game for me. This is the one. This is happening. And the chances came. It just that the coin fell on the wrong side for me. But after seeing that performance, I was like, I feel comfortable. And I'm not somebody who's comfortable captaining Saka in a game, but I just feel comfortable doing it against Wolves. They were that bad.
I agree. And again, like we spoke about, when do you go against Haaland? Fulham are nowhere near as good as how Palace are. Palace, again, a very good defense in comparison. So I think this is a week you can potentially take. Haaland on. I think
Yeah.
I'll be going Saka as
That
well.
said, if their first team gets 90 minutes and if it's like that sort of game, I'll maybe think about it. But I think 80% I'm on Saka, 20% on Haaland as things stand.
Fairly similar. Anybody else or somebody who doesn't own Saka? I think then you just stick to Haaland, or maybe you look at Manchester United.
I wouldn't trust us against Bournemouth, man. Bournemouth can batter us in the game.
They've had a very good
we
record
are doing well
against Iraola, particularly against Manchester United.
Yeah. I mean, then you have a long shots in Liverpool attack or Palmer. But most people should get Saka before Palmer for Wolves.
The chat is asking potential triple captaincy shout. For those who
it's the best differential triple captaincy you'll get now if you still have it left. Like Saka will be maybe 70% owned. Like I'm including some captaincy this week. You get 300% of a 70% owned player. Now, I have also said in the past, it matters who scores more points. But then if you want to roll the dice on getting lucky, then doing it on a lower EO triple captaincy, you have a higher chance of getting lucky if it really pays off. So if you want to go for it, sure.
Anything else to talk about this, guys? Move on to our bus teams.
But Haaland does have West Ham at home coming up, just FYI. If people are thinking about it, look at both sides of the equation, not just one.
And improving West Ham, must we say.
Again, I think they're going to play the 3 centre backs, crowd Haaland out.
Yeah.
That seems to be a tactic more and more teams are adopting. Right? We saw Sunderland also do it. Haaland had that one big chance, but apart from that, not that much. Cool. Bus teams.
Just before we get into that, we've got again a good 1,000 people watching us, and would really appreciate it's a season of giving. Just if you could take a second to hit the like and the subscribe button, we'd appreciate it. That's all. So I've used up 3 transfers out of the 5 that I had on Saturday night. I had Voltemade, Mateta in addition to Haaland. So I did Voltemade out, Mateta out for Thiago and Guiu to fund Dewsbury Hall to Foden because I didn't have Foden. So I changed my structure to a 3-5-2. I wonder if I would have done things differently in hindsight. I would have probably kept KDH and sold Minteh after looking at him on Sunday night, but didn't have the luxury of assessing that performance. And so this is where we are at the moment.
Are you going to keep that bench order?
Yes. I wonder if Guy gets some minutes against Everton. So that's why
he's going to get minutes now consistently. The news is that Delap is out at least till January. Now, I think most likely we are going to be playing Pedro Palmer in this fixture because again, I think Palmer didn't play. But there are going to be games. I think Guiu will start with Pedro at 10 now because Palmer is not going to start every game.
Yeah. So do you reckon? But would you then put Richards or Rodon ahead of Guiu?
I think I'd put Richards ahead because you're getting at least your 3-pointer there.
Yeah, Defcon is coming. Yeah.
And Glasner has a great record. You may even spike a clean sheet. You know, Gay owners are getting a clean sheet. Yeah. This is why I'm not captaining Haaland. One of you guys will fall down. Either Haaland captainers or Gay owners.
Yeah.
Or Gay will just score.
He'll just score. Yeah, of course. That's possible. Now I shouldn't have said that.
Cap on Saka, don't expect that to change.
Plans for future weeks? I think next week you can roll, then assess in 18.
No, I have to figure what to do with Boomo next week.
Oh, right.
So watching what to do with Liverpool. Might change the structure again if I fancy Ekitike or shift Minteh to Awards. Those are the...
Next week you go Boomo to Semenyo. I think that fixture against Burnley just looks too good to pass up.
I'm liking the vibes around the salvaging for Liverpool. So I'll be monitoring them closely this week.
Tottenham
but
in 17.
Boomo and Minteh are the 2 people on the chopping block next week.
I think with Minteh you give him Sunderland. Then the Arsenal fixture, obviously you can yeet him out.
If he's wide again against Liverpool, I'm done.
That's a new word I learned this week. Yeet. I think everyone used that for the players they're getting rid of.
Yeah.
Pras, your team?
So I just did the one transfer, Mateta to Thiago. So I have 1.3 million in the bank. So I think the team generally is fine. Raya, Timber, Van Dijk, Anderson, Minteh, the other Anderson, Saka, Foden, Bruno, Thiago, Haaland. So team is generally okay. I have the money to do Rodon to O'Reilly. So that is one option. And then I bench Minteh this week. I don't want to sell Minteh. Like I could have done for Sade, but I don't see any other sort of entry point for a midfielder this week. So either I'll just do that move and I'll play O'Reilly over Minteh, or I'll leave it. And then next week, what I'm thinking is Timber to O'Reilly and Anderson up to, I can even get up to Gakpo level. So Gakpo is obviously not fit, or Semenyo. And that could be for a short-term period. And then Semenyo could become Szoboszlai. So you get basically Burnley at home, then Wolves at home, then Leeds at home for that one spot. So that's the path that I'm favoring at the moment a little bit more. So keep 4 free transfers going into next week, then make 2 next week, and leave it there. But I am a little tempted to go O'Reilly and just go 4 at the back, because I think eventually I do want to shift this to a 4 at the back, which I might do anyway, regardless of the moves, because I'm looking at Senesi up to a Keane or Tarkowski in a little bit if I don't go for a Palace defender. At least those are the things in my thoughts. Liverpool made a Semenyo short-term punt, an Everton or a Crystal Palace defender, and O'Reilly. Like, those are the kind of things I'm looking at short-term.
Just my 2 cents on O'Reilly, that 15 pointers coming any game. He's
But Palace away.
about
Palace away is probably one of the tougher fixtures. I think this week you can go without O'Reilly, because maybe if he didn't have any other transfers to make.
Yeah, and I'm just generally telling Pras in terms of his future targets, for 30-40% of the game, he parks himself next to Haaland. Just does that. So
No, absolutely. So the way I'm thinking about it is I'm removing 3 numbers from my number of free transfers left at all points. So I have 1 free transfer left. So if I had 1 free transfer left, would I make the move or would I roll? That's the get into. And if in that, I probably come in, whether it's this week or next week.
For sure.
I need your guys' help. I have all my transfers available. Absolutely no idea what to do. I probably will beef up my bench. I guess the 2 main weaknesses in the team are the goalkeeper and the bench. And let me read it out. Dubravka, Timber, Virgil, Munoz, O'Reilly, Bruno, Saka, Semenyo, Foden, Thiago, and Haaland. Verbruggen, Mukiele, King, and Krupi on the bench. Now, the problem with Mukiele is he stopped defconning. The last 4 games, I think he's racked up 9 defcon. He's playing as now maybe a right centre back, not getting forward also as much. So now I don't feel comfortable relying on him as an option to come off the bench every week. And I was burned this week, right, with Munoz. Most people were getting Senesi, Dewsbury Halls. I got King off the bench, whose minutes are also not reliable. So what I was initially thinking, maybe I could do something like Virgil down to Hincapi and upgrade Dubravka to Sanchez, get that rotation in place. But with the news on Gabriel, I'm not feeling that confident. I think I want to show more faith in Liverpool at least till game week 19 is over. So Virgil's not going anywhere. Timber, obviously, the backline. Even if Munoz misses out this week, I don't necessarily want to sell him because the fixtures after that are all right. So it makes more sense now for me to beef up my bench more than anything. So what I was thinking is Krupi to Guiu. Again, that's an upgrade on X minutes, right? With the Delap injury. That's new information. And then take King up to Dewsbury Hall. So why that appeals to me now, game week 18, I'm getting essentially Dewsbury Hall in for then. Right then, when there's going to be some rotation around, maybe at that point I can downgrade Semenyo to somebody cheaper and take him to Ekitike. In that sense, maybe I can take Semenyo up to Bowen. It gives me that flexibility to change formation later on, maybe in game week 18. Otherwise, I'm struggling to add value to this team with transfers this week.
If Munoz is out this week, I think Mukiele to Anderson sorts you out this week and is a good long-term transfer in my opinion. Why not look at that?
Can't afford. I mean, I have to do Krupi down and Mukiele. There's nothing I can't do for 1 week.
So you're looking to do Krupi down anyway, and I think Anderson is just a robust pick to get in this rotation heavy period with some decent fixtures on the block as well. It's a very Zoph pick in terms of being a good DEFCON monster and some decent underlying numbers. Solves the problem for you this week if Munoz is out.
I could just play Dewsbury Hall away to Chelsea.
You could, but my only thing with Dewsbury Hall is like, I don't know, you don't know whether you want to go for the Isaks, Gakpos, Isaks or Wirtzes of the world if they open up as options. So blocking up
0.5, 0.6 there.
Yeah, if you're in the market for a midfielder of that price, don't need to commit to Dewsbury Hall right now, right? See after 2 weeks where you are and whether you want to go for as a 5th pick Wirtz, Ekitike. So and there's not much price difference between Mukiele and Anderson. And whichever world you look at it, Anderson is not a bad move and solves the problem for you this week. So I like that for you.
The thing with Anderson, I know he's good for DEFCON, right? But Fulham with just the clean sheets, I'm just not having faith with how poor Leno has been.
Actually, our friend Jazzy pointed out this to me. Give me a second. I'm going to give you some cool information. Fulham are great in games you want them to be great. They're like as predictable as any team out there when it comes to defensive numbers. So Anderson, right? Not done much in terms of XGC for games you don't want him to do. But Sunderland at home, they conceded 0.17 XGC. Wolves at home, they conceded 0.24 XGC. Brentford at home, they conceded 0.6 XGC. Leeds at home, they conceded 0.7 XGC. So these are the 4 games that you'd probably play an Anderson like. He's averaging 0.3, 0.4 XGC. So the games you want him to play, they do well against these middling teams in terms of constraining them as well. So, in terms of predictability, they're good assets.
I get it, but again, the 2 games, the next 3 obviously are the appeal, right? Because game week 19, 20, 21 is Palace, Liverpool, Chelsea. Those are the tough games. So the ones over here, 16, 17, 18, Burnley away, Forest at home, West Ham away. Now, away, I have very little faith in Fulham. I think the Forest fixture obviously is the good one. But I don't know. I'm just not feeling that. And I feel like the Dewsbury Hall pick is somebody I really will want in 18. Just makes sense to
and
get him
he could be
in
on pens, by the way.
Could be on pens. And even this weekend, he's going to be back in number 10 because Gay is back. He will be. And it's again, he's playing against his old club. This old club thing always plays in my head.
I sold him, man. I feel about it.
Pras, your thoughts?
No, I think the 2 moves make sense. Like, you're in a very tiny violin position. So, like, we're not going to, like, spend too much time here because everybody else is looking at this team as this is the team that they have used transfers to get. So, I think Krupi down to Giu makes just general sense. Then you decide if you want Dewsbury Hall or you want Mukiele or you want Sanchez. If you can afford any of those, I think all of those add value to your squad. And potentially, if Munoz is out even this week.
There's nothing I can really add value in terms of the first 11, I think, this week, except the goalkeeper.
Just see if there's a 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 defender out there that solves certain problem fixtures for you in terms of clean sheet odds.
Because even Mukiele, look at it in terms of fixture-wise, this week is actually good. The weeks after this are quite rubbish. Newcastle at home, he's actually projected higher than Dewsbury Hall or Anderson.
And I don't even know what Sunderland are going to look like next week. They have,
but the AFCON guys are going. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think the Dewsbury Hall move is one I'll make. I could potentially leave the second transfer, but I think it's the way the prices are. He's going to go up again this Friday. So just get that done with.
Yeah. I just want to say this because I want to say this on the pod. We're likely, we're going to lose Maz, Ahmad and Boomo, right? Next week onwards. There is a world in which we see 4.5 million Luke Shaw as wing back. I think there's a chance something like that happens. If he decides to play Lisandro Martinez as the left centre back, then just keep your eyes peeled out for a 4.5 million wing back. And Luke Shaw is somebody you like. He's got attacking capability. We've owned him in fantasy Euro tournaments and whatnot as well. So just wanted to mention that.
We conceded to Wolves, man.
Yeah.
Like, nobody concedes to Wolves.
We were talking in the Discord earlier, right? This is one team that's not kept a clean sheet and the team that's not scored. Movable force or something. What is that? It is
movable force versus stoppable object.
Stoppable object.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, yeah. We have a few super chats. We have OR53 in the house. Abhimanyu Kulkarni. Who was on Wildcard 13. Abhimanyu, you're my hero, man. Like, this was my dream. Wildcard 13 was my dream. So you're living the dream. Congratulations. You're OR53. And he had Bruno, Foden and Thiago on his Wildcard 13. So clearly getting ahead of the crowd. That's why momentum is a thing in FPL. Like, if you're doing well, people want your players. Then you're in an even better position.
Absolutely.
Okay. Congratulations, man. That is some big dog rank.
And points.
There's no question there, right?
No question. Just shouting, and this is the shout out, man.
Absolutely.
No.
He mentions his feel pressure to find the next big differential. Don't necessarily look there, Abhimanyu. Stay consistent. This sort of period is when you sort of need to hang with the crowd. Then game week 18, 19, 20, that's when the few fixture turns coming. So don't necessarily look to force a differential now.
Agree with the boys fully.
Tariq, hey guys, great show as always. I was set on free hit 16, but with doubts regarding Salah and Cole, I'm now looking at game week 18 or 19. Really want a differential captain. Free hit Pras, do you see any other alternate window? I think people have mentioned 17, but I think 16 looks decent enough.
16, 17, 19 is also good.
Yes,
19 was the mirror
I
of
saw
the game week that
Spaceman.
just had.
Spaceman was mentioning that he's going in 19. He has all of his, right?
Yeah. So he has his free hit left as well. He's looking at 19, but he's got a couple of players on 4 yellows. So he's also looking at whichever week Szoboszlai gets his yellow card, and if it aligns with Munoz as well, then he'll just play it. So I think at this point, if you've held this long, just be opportunistic with it. So if you're not feeling it in 16, I would be in a similar position. Like when I was debating 13, 16, the edge this week was Salah and Palmer. And it seems like both are not an edge anymore. Like it's hard. Yeah.
That's to keep it. From Advait, he wanted to give a shout out to the three of us. Thank you, Advait. He's asking, how does Minteh to Trossard sound? Trossard's unavailable. I think he has some injury issues, so do not go there.
Eze or Madhu, okay, if you want to punt if they don't play tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably there. That's about it, guys. No more super chats, please. Let's wrap up.
Nice chatting to you guys, man. It was quite nice, and there was no pressure of transfer moves, etc. Like it's been a fairly relaxing week after Monday, right? Because there's not much thinking to do in terms of what we need to do. It's just have to sit and wait for the games to come this week, and that's about it.
It might be our last full house for a bit. We've all got different vacation plans now planned for December.
Absolutely. But the pod
But
will
we'll
keep
be there.
going. We'll be there. If nothing, there will be another 50-minute, 60-minute solo pod as well. So we don't keep going. We don't stop ever.
Yep. So I'll only be away for the Game Week 18 pod. Even if you guys are traveling, I can manage either side of that.
Yeah.
Game Week
I'm
18,
likely gone next week, and that's about it. I'll be back for 18.
Yeah,
I think.
we'll keep the content going.
Absolutely.
Any last words, guys?
Hit like and subscribe, and enjoy the festive period.
Yep. Good luck, everybody. If you don't like one player in your team, don't make 2 transfers to fix that one player. Live with it. It's okay.
Good shout, Pras. I think restraint is potentially the differential in this upcoming period. Thanks for joining us. Hit like and subscribe. We will see you again next week, and for our team selection videos before the weekend. Thank you.